Hello, this is Andy with the Facebook Live TV show, and I'm on a mic that does not have static. Thank goodness. So I want to come on because I saw an article that I think you guys will find very interesting, especially most of the people that I know that are in the community of this Facebook Live TV show will find interesting. But let's catch up for a few things, and I wanted to talk about the series of videos from Publish and Profit using my wireless mic, and this is just for all of you. Remember, this show is about how you can create your own Facebook Live TV show, and you're going to be going through some of the experiences, both positive and negative, as I am going through and doing shows from place to place using different equipment. And I got some new equipment coming up. I have about 5 new pieces of equipment that I cannot wait to show you and how they work, and even let you know if that's something you may want to use or if it even works well. So I'm gonna have it by the end of the week, and so this weekend coming up, quite possibly I could begin showing you some very new of the and latest equipment that I've acquired. Some of it's been around, other is fairly new. So I cannot wait. It's going to be fantastic. Let's talk about that wireless mic situation. And I'm using a Sennheiser mic, which is the most professional. Probably you'll find it. Anytime I've done a TV show on television, I have probably more likely than not been connected with a Sennheiser mic. I believe that to be true because I've looked every so often. I like to see what they're using on TV shows and just am interested. I always ask questions of the audio guys and the video guys and see what's going on. But so it's not that I was using anything cheap by no means. I think the handheld by itself is like $600 all by itself, and then the other stuff is around $700 to $900, maybe more. Anyway, there's some things that happen where you are in a location where other electronics are going on. So in that room in Publish and Profit, if you watched any of those interviews, there was stuff going on in the background. Mike Koenigs was there, and there were a number of other people there that were using their phones all at the same time in a very small room. And I'm not sure which one of these is actually what's causing the static, but they were taking pictures using a camera that had a Bluetooth thing going on with the lighting. So the lighting system was connected via Bluetooth, I believe, or the internet. I'm not sure which one, but I'm guessing probably Bluetooth. I believe there was some other broadcasting going on at the same time. So you put that all in a small room and you have a wireless system going on. That would have been the option. That would have been the thing that I should have been aware of, and maybe even looked at the chat that was going on my very first interview, because somebody in there said there's a lot of static coming through that mic. Now, a couple of solutions are you change the settings so that the code that connects the transmitter with the receiver, you just change that to find a station for the most part. It's like a radio, a walkie-talkie talking from one to the other. There's usually a common station they're on so they can communicate. If you don't have the common station, then you can't hear or talk to the other person. And so that it works the same way with the mic and the receiver, that you can change the settings so that you're using different channels to broadcast from the transmitter to the receiver. Now, that would have been something that I could have tried. I haven't done it in a long time. I've kept them on those same settings forever. And in most cases, I've been able to run just fine and not have a lot of static. The other solution is that I have a wired mic that I could have gone to and probably should have gone to. The first time I saw that there was static, which was after I had done all the interviews, would have been that I would have gone to a wireless before I did the other interviews. That would have been probably the thing to do. So why do I use a wireless over a wired? The wireless, of course, allows me more movement and greater movement around that room. And if you look at maybe the first or second one, I was able to leave my position where I was broadcasting from, as far as my where I was standing, and move down the line and grab some people to interview them. So I was able to move more freely and didn't have to worry about being connected via a wire. It didn't limit my distance. Usually the wire is about from my computer here to where the camera is. It's about 7 or 8 feet. The wire is generally around that long, plus the distance between you and your body. So you add another foot or so to that, and you have about 9 feet of movement before you start pulling on the tripod and that kind of stuff, or take a chance of pulling it out of your phone. So I could have and should have changed to a wired mic if I would have known that. So I did test the mic. I went in there and went to video, just like I teach you in the Elite program, which the link is above if you want to know how to do live broadcasts and things I learned. It goes into that program. I did test it. It did work. As far as I could hear, there was no static, but it wasn't until we went live. Now, the interview that later comes, I think it's on the first or second one. I think it might be the second one that I did. And Mike Koenig's comes on. We had that was probably one of the best interviews he and I have done together. A portion of that has no static. So whatever was causing the static either left the room or got turned off, but then the static came back. So there was just something that needed to change. On some levels, I think sometimes my hand drops down on the mic where it actually covers the transmitter portion. So be aware of that where your hand is. I probably should have it off of that little box that's at the bottom. I don't have it handy or else I'd show you. It's way over there and I don't want to leave camera. And it should hold it where the hand is meant to hold it. Sometimes I find my hand down there and actually covering the transmitter. And I got to really be careful about covering that. So that's that. So if you are deciding to go that route, these are just some of the things you need to be aware of, that there can be interference within a room or a space where other FM channels are going on and other maybe Bluetooth. I'm not sure, again, if that was even the issue, but I'm just telling you that there was other electronic stuff going on that surely could have caused interference with that wireless mic. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about in relationship to what it is that you're going to do with your Facebook Live TV shows when you create them is that you are definitely going to want to book. The more that I help people write their book and the more that I sit down and really think about all the things, and my other books over there that I had written down some stuff, because I just recently jotted down. Now you know that I like journaling. I do it both electronically and with a pen and a paper, the old-fashioned way. And I came up with a list that I can look from here. There's about 15 to 20 things that your book will give you the ability to do to create interest, to create authority, to create celebrity, and to build your list and to have people become attracted to you because of what you've done in that book and the other ways that you can use the book. You can repurpose the chapters. You can speak the chapters and make an audible book out of it. You can make videos out of each one of the chapters, even each one of the points that you have inside of your book. You can give it away off stage to get the audience that's in that, that's on that, in that conference or whatever it is that you are speaking in front of, Chamber of Commerce, whatever it is. In the past, what you've done is you speak on stage and then you hope that you can get some business cards from people that are going to be quality potential clients of yours, whatever it is you're trying to sell. It doesn't matter what you're trying to sell. When you go on stage, you're hoping that a number of people that are in that audience are going to ask you for your business card, or you're going to go out there and because they've shown interest, you're going to ask for their business card. And then by the time they get home or do whatever they do, by the end of the day that they remember that they have that business card and then take action by either calling or sending you an email or going to your website and find out what you do. There's a lot of stuff that has to happen. So having a book like this one that Andy Broadway wrote called Top 10 YouTube Mistakes, or Frank Lies wrote called The Way of Wealth. Who do I have down here? I have Melanie Johnson, Jen Foster wrote a book called Accomplishment and Personal Success, How to Write Your Personal Story. I have Recording Audiobooks by George Smolinski, and I think he gave this to me at one of the events I went to. Recording audiobooks, right? Another way of repurposing your book. What do you do with these books? You give them away on stage, and you can either give them away electronically, or have a bunch shipped to wherever you're speaking and hand them out. The other thing is that they are a quality business card that people do not normally throw away. People rarely walk out of receiving a book, especially one that has a little bit of thickness to it. They think, you know what, I might actually put that in the bathroom and read it, or whatever, right? Or take it with me to the gym and read it while I'm jogging, or whatever the case is. And so rarely do they just drop it in the trash. That doesn't happen very often. Now your business cards, they get trashed because they have so many that they collected by the end. I'm never going to get to all these business cards, and they don't remember who they talked to or whose business card is whose, right? They don't remember that yours is the one about whatever it is you're trying to sell. They have 15 others of the same kind of business card with stuff. Now, rarely do people write stuff on the back to remind them, oh, it's the guy with the brown hair that spoke on blah, 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 and I really want to call him and put a big star on it. Now, some people do that. Not everybody, including me. They end up in my pocket and they go in the wash and they become a big clump of paper that's in my pocket that I have to dig out and throw away. But not a book. All right, so very, very powerful. So when you create your show, you can also put a link like I put up there for the training program that people can click on and get a copy of your book. Because, on stage, you can actually see people make eye contact and you can target them because you see them shaking their head and going, yeah, or they raise their hand, or you see that somebody's very active and now you can target them and go out there and approach them and try to get their information. That's one way of doing it. But if you want the masses of people, you give away your book by telling them, if you text your name and email address to this phone number, you are going to get a copy of my book. And now they can do that from where they sit at that moment. As a matter of fact, you tell them to. And how do you get them to do it even more so? You give away something to somebody that does it, right? If they want the slides, you give them the slides that they're watching so they don't have to take notes. Maybe there is a training program or a 30-minute free coaching call that you can invite them to by texting your name and email address. You're not only going to get my book, you're going to get the opportunity to have a free conference call with me where I break apart what it is you're doing with your marketing plan, and I help you with that for 30 minutes. You can give away the slides, like I said. You can have a contest that one of you will win a car if you text your name and email address. You get a lot of people text your name and email. Now you have their information. Now you're going to be approaching them, which is a big difference than hoping that they're going to contact you for whatever it is they need. You're going to then give them more free stuff. Once they opt in, you're not going to go after them right away and try to get into their wallet. You're going to prove your value to them by giving more free stuff again. So again, if you're not using a book, if you've not written your book, contact me. I'll help you write your book. I'll coach you through it. We'll get it done. We just made 100 #1 best-selling authors in 3 days in San Diego. Yes. All right. So, and many of them never thought they could write a book. Many of them have been sitting on a book for years and never wrote that book. So, just for you in relationship to a Facebook Live TV show, make use of your Facebook Live TV show by giving away something for free so that there is a way that you're going to monetize your TV show. So I'm going over here. I'm just taking a look really quick. I got a 22 social question. Nice. All right. I'm getting... Yael's on. Thank you very much, Yael, for watching. And Nabi goes in the bathroom. Yeah, books go in the bathroom. That's where they go quite often. Yael, John North. Hey, John North. I love my Australian friends. You know what? I wonder if you guys lived here, like next to me, that we would see each other as much as we do. Now that you're on the other side of the world, both you and Nabi. John and I have to get back together and get back on our recordings, which we'll do now. I've had a little bit of stuff going on, as you may have told, since I've disappeared for a couple days between that and the flu and being in San Diego for 3 days, helping those 100 people become #1 best-selling authors. All right, so make sure that you do that. So I should get to the question that I asked. Who is more active on Facebook, Gen X or Millennials? Do you guys know without looking it up? Use your book to monetize your Facebook Live. Really? Yes. Yes. It says Dean Renfro, who has his book up on his TV show, not every time he goes live, but quite often it's there in that big graphic of his book and teaching the people that are watching about just life stuff. He has life lessons. You can look at it as business lessons, but much of the stuff that Dean Renfro talks about are life lessons, things you need to take on the road. Pam Hendrickson put a question. I wish I could remember exactly what that question was, but it had to do with what one thing. I'm going to look for it here because it was really good, and I know Bruce Jones he actually commented on it. It's good enough for me to take the time here and look up and see what it is. Hold on, I'm going to find it. And it's not going to take me forever. Don't worry about it. I'm going to find it. I'll just keep talking until I find it. It is around here somewhere. Oh, Farfignugan. I can find it. I know I can. Where's Pam? Pam Hendrickson. Pam Hendrickson. The question was good, and it reminded me of something so important that just in case you're not in this private group that we're in with Pam Hendrickson, I want to make sure and bring it out. Everett is looking for somebody to edit his stuff. I thought it was so funny that he made a posting looking for an editor, and the first 2 sentences had errors in it, which proved his point, right? That he really did need an error. He really did need for sure needed an editor. I need one too. You all know that I am not one to come to for spelling questions or grammar questions. That is not my superpower. Oh, for God's sakes. There's been so many postings since I guess that last one. I cannot find it. I could have done it the easy way and just typed in Pam Hendrickson here. How come I always end up doing things on the fly, which I teach you not to do in the elite program? That is the one thing I tell you not to do. Go with the plan, stick to your show flow, and don't go off script, because when you do, things like this happen where you spend a period of time looking for stuff, and nobody wants to watch you scrolling through the computer looking for stuff. Nobody cares that you're doing that. Oh my gosh. It was something to do with what is the most important lesson that you've learned? And it's just so important that we try to find exactly what the question was, because I want to know from you guys what yours was. Did you know there's more than one Pam Hendrickson? I thought there was only one. All right, never mind. I give. I should have had it here. If anybody can remember what that thing was, you just let me know. But it had to do with that one thing. Squirrel. Yeah, for sure. Gen X more active than millennials. Yes? Question mark? Okay, now let me go back to this other thing first. Okay, her thing was, what is the one thing that you haven't, that you know, have learned that has impacted your business? And the thing that I learned that has been so important, it was so important in the dog training business, hugely important, and that is let me go back to when I learned it. I was in the police academy. I'll never forget this one class. I don't know why, this one thing. Who knew that? I didn't know at that time that this thing was going to just really be the thing that changed everything for me. It actually probably led to why I was awarded the Officer of the Year, and then later on would be the Career Achievement Award, which is the biggest award you can get at the police department, and why that happened. This is the one thing. I was sitting in the academy. There was a class that this lieutenant from Orange County Sheriff's Department was giving. I know, I can see the guy's face, I just can't remember his name. I can see his face standing there, and he said, there's one thing that you have to always keep in mind when you're working as a police officer, when you're there on the street. That on that call, when you're dealing with that person, whether it's a suspect, a victim, or a witness, because remember, in most cases, you're on a call because something happened, something that is impactful on the person that you're dealing with, whether they're a witness who saw it happen, or they're the victim of what happened, or they're the suspect that caused it to happen. It doesn't matter. That at that moment in time, that thing is the most important to that person that you're dealing with. Whatever that is, whatever call you're on, whatever situation you find yourself in with a person where you're dialoguing back and forth, that is the most important thing happening to them at that point. And having that in your head, having that in your heart, to have that understanding is key to having success as a police officer, because no matter who they are, no matter if they're the victim, the witness, or the suspect, that you're going to deal with that situation much better if you're dealing with it from their perspective as being the most important thing happening. Why? Because you could have just gotten off the phone with your wife, an argument with her, and been angry with her about some situation, or sad because something happened, and now that is more important to you. And so when you go to help somebody else, what you may do is you may focus on the thing that's most important to you, and not what's important to the person that you have been charged with being responsible for. Again, if it's a suspect, you need to understand that this is the most important thing happening to them, so you can get the most information out of them that leads to their conviction, if they are in fact the suspect. Or if they're innocent, they're the suspect, but they're innocent, you may miss a detail that will lead to their innocence, right? Because you're focused on what's important to you, not what's important to them. If they're a victim, it goes without saying, right? You need to do your best for the victim. If they're a witness, if you're focused on what's bothering you, let's say that the last call was a very harrowing call, that you were in a pursuit, the car crashed, you chased the guy down and tackled him, you've cleared that call, now you're back in your patrol car on another call. If you're focusing on, wow, that was a pretty hairy call and that guy really deserved going to jail. If your mind is on what just happened and not what's before you, and not putting that witness first, realizing that that's the most important thing happening to them, because they just witnessed a shooting, they just witnessed a stabbing, they just witnessed their mom getting beat up by their dad. If you're not putting your focus on them then you're going to miss a detail, right? That will lead to the conviction of the person that you're talking about, or to the, helping the victim in the best way possible, because you're focused on you and not them. So how does this relate to business? As a dog training business, I remember there were times where I went to the office and I just had the most crappy evening, night, whatever, things were happening. And then I went to, work, went to the office, and then I have that first appointment where somebody's coming with their dog that just bit the neighbor kid, right? And I'm thinking, I just want to, whatever's going on at home, I wanted to strangle somebody at home or whatever. Not literally. I've never strangled anybody. Well, I did on the street once. I choked them out, but not at home, not in my family. And so I was just like, oh, of course, you're so angry, right, at your spouse or your kid or somebody, that wronged you. And you go to work, and now you're here with this person with this dog, and they're kind of like all upset because their dog just bit the neighbor kid, the day before. And now they're thinking, I may have to put this dog down. And that lieutenant's face would come into my head. And what he said would come into my head. And I said, okay, I'm at work. That is the most important thing to that person right now. And I have to put that first. Put whatever's bothering me, whatever I went through, because it's not going to do any good, right? It's not going to do any good at that moment for me to focus on the thing that's going on with me or what happened, because I'm not there, right? It does me no good. But what does me good and my business good is if I focus on the people that are paying me to come up with a solution to their problem, which right now is the most important thing happening to them. And that's how you need to handle things. If you're a coach on that phone call and you got, like yesterday, I was doing a recording yesterday in the private group for Create, Launch a Profit, and crap was happening in the background behind me, and it was so hard to focus. My kids came in, they were not listening, and it was just one of those weird days. I have pretty good kids, I got to say. But in this day, they were all full of fire and coming through the door, and I told them not to do it. And I tried to focus on the thing and what I was doing, and I think I was able to do it because a couple people made graphics from the course I was given, or the talk I was given. And so I was mostly successful in that, but that's what it takes, right? You have to put the things that are bothering you aside momentarily, especially if somebody's paying you for an hour of your time. That when you're on that call as a coach for the hour of the time, regardless of what's happening around you, you have to focus. And if you can't, maybe there are those times where you have to say, you know what, listen, can we make this call a different time? If it's so bad, if it's so challenging for you to stay focused on the person who is keeping your lights on in your house, the roof over your head, the gas in the car, the mortgage in your house, if you can't stay focused on what's important to them because that's what they're paying for you to be focused on what's important to them, if you can't do that, then maybe that may be a time where you say, you know what, I'm not giving you value by being focused on you because I got something going on. Can I give you 2 lessons, another lesson for free, on my dime, because I just cannot, I can't focus on what's important to you. And it's my job to focus on what's important to you, but today is not that day. It's the one time that you may have to do that. So think about that. So all of that came from Pam Hendrickson's talk. I wrote it all out. It was so great. That's why journaling is so fantastic. When you write it out, it just puts it again on the forefront of your head and reminds me of how many times that I may not have put in somebody else's issue that I've been tasked at helping them with. I haven't put it first. I can't say I've been perfect. There's times where I just like, it's like when I would hear my secretary or somebody that worked for me, the phone ring, the phone's ringing, gosh darn it. And I would look at them and go, you know how important that phone ringing is extremely important to our success. It's extremely important to your paycheck. So never say, when the phone rings. You should be, yes, the phone's ringing. All right. Whew. I went on a little tangent there. It felt good. Action. Trump's intention every time I focus for 2017. My intentional. Do it now. Nice. Do as I say, not as I do. Right. All right. Hope that was worth going on down that rabbit trail. All right. So let me share my screen here. I may have to refresh. Oh, no. I have to just change here. I switched over, so I just got to find it. There it is. Okay. So here we go. If you're wondering, I'm not sure if you've seen yet, but I can't use blue jeans because I can't use Mimo as my camera, Mimo Live as my camera because plugin is not working. Okay, so whoever thought Gen X was more active on social media is correct. Dive brief. This is from Marketing Dive. So I'm going to assume, so Nielsen, Gen X more active than millennials on social media. So I'm going to assume that they did the research and this to be true. And I think they are. So new Nielsen research finds that Gen X, or adults ages 35 to 49, use social media more heavily than millennials, spending 6 hours and 58 minutes a week on social media compared to millennials at 6 hours and 19 minutes, as reported by the New York Times. So the difference isn't great, but just know that our audience, for most of us, Dean and John North, I think many of our audience fits into that 35 to 49. Breaking down social media is to mobile use. Facebook led the way with 178.2 million unique mobile users in September, followed by Instagram, 91.5 million, Twitter, 82.2 million, and Pinterest, 69.6 million. LinkedIn came in fifth, and Snapchat, social media darling of the younger set, though only accessible as a mobile app, came in sixth. Well, that's pretty good. It's only accessible via mobile app. I can keep forgetting about that. Looking at second screen activity, Facebook and Twitter, by measuring how users posted or tweeted about programs they are watching, Gen X also led the way, 42%, followed by millennials, 40%. While Gen X doesn't have a particular wide lead when it comes to social media use, it's standing at Nielsen top spot. It's still surprising considering how much industry chatter is put towards the idea that millennials are more glued to their screens than almost any other demographic group. Younger consumers like millennials are highly coveted by marketers. Understandably so, since they're arguably more impressionable. But the Nielsen report highlights how important it is to not simply ride the going industry wisdom and instead understand where target audience actually spend their time. Another surprising finding from this report is Snapchat's relatively low standing as the fifth most popular service used behind even Pinterest and LinkedIn on mobile. Snapchat only has a mobile app and is also relatively fresh-faced compared to the competition, explaining some of its limited reach. The majority of Snapchat's audience is also believed to be limited to millennials and Gen Z. One question that hangs over Snapchat's head as its parent company heads into a planned initial public offering of stock is whether the app will retain the young user base as it matures past early adopters. Some in the industry have suggested Snapchat could be limited or built up to eventually rival giants in the social space like Facebook, but the Nielsen research underscores how limited the platform's reach and engagement actually is at the moment. All right. So we're on the right track for most of us who are doing our work with the Gen X, and they need content. They need people like us, you and me, Dean Renfro, and John and Nobby and whoever else is watching right now. Charmaine is off is watching, but I can't see exactly who's on at this moment. But good news, I think. You got Sue also, who really speaks to, and Yael. Oh, definitely parents, right? Those are all within your demographic there, Yael, or the parents of children who need your service. And so making sure that you understand that that's the audience, that's what people need to see, is stuff that relates to them. The other thing that you got to remember is that things like Facebook and what else is there, like Pinterest and Instagram, all that kind of stuff. What's funny is that younger kids, as they get older, they tend to stick around on some of those things, or if they're younger, even younger than that, they stop using them because they become more popular. My daughter is like that a lot, and I remember being like that on some issues, is that once they become popular, I stop using them. Right? Because I don't want to be the guy that's using everything everybody else is using. And that tends to be something I think younger people do, and I did when I was younger, is that the more popular, Facebook became, the more of the younger crowd left Facebook, that it's left in the hands of those of us that are in the late 30s, which is me, and the early 50s and late 40s. All right, and so that's something that's really, really important for you to remember. About how that works. So thought that was pretty interesting. If you are not in my Facebook Live TV show Elite program. That's a series of videos. It's in New Kajabi. It trains you how to create your own TV show. That URL is up top, and you just click on that, and you'll get access steps that you can take to get into that program, in the Elite program. It is 2 programs in one. I have 2 programs. One teaches you how to do it on your telephone, and the other one teaches you how to do it on your computer. Remember now that Facebook actually, in many Facebook pages, can be used from a laptop now. The Facebook Live option can be used. You know what's funny? That I got to share this with you too before I leave, is that the Facebook Live button, which is not on all of my pages, I think the only one that it's not on is this one, the Facebook Live TV show. Let me look and see for sure, because it wasn't earlier this week. Well, today's Monday, so it can be earlier this week. Yep, still not there. It's the only one. I can go to almost any other of my fan pages, and it is on there. So let's just go to Falco Fitness, which I don't have a lot going on there, and see if it's on there. Yep, there it is. I've used that page once since I've created it. I'm not ready to do stuff on there now, but in Falco Fitness, there it is. Started live video. The only one that does not have it, as far as I can tell, is my Facebook Live TV show. It does not have the Facebook Live button. And there may be something behind that. I don't know. Gina Brunick. Hey, Gina Brunick. Oh, let's see which one you're on. Oh, you're on the Falco Canine Academy. So you watched it. I'm not sure if Gina is on this one or the other show or not. But Gina's one of my trainers. I did a training session in Falco Canine Academy. And I got to tell you, and this goes back to the Facebook Live TV show concept and how you monetize it, Dean. And that is that I have associated products that I send people to. Since I took a break on Facebook Live on the Dog Academy, Falco Canine Academy, because I was so busy in the Create a Launch a Profit and the Facebook Live TV show and then all the other shenanigans that are going on. So I had to take a little break on Facebook Live for the Falco Canine Academy. But just recently, I went back on and have done a couple shows on Facebook Live. My purchases in New Kajabi on the dog training video programs that I have increased something like, I think I got $98 in the last 2 days, which isn't a lot, but remember, I have not been on there for a while, and so sales were nearly zero. And so as soon as you go back on and increased interest in what is you're doing, and being on Facebook Live is essentially video. It's live video, but if they're getting what they want out of you on the Facebook Live, then they're probably going, well, if I can get this much instruction and learn this much on his live broadcast, I probably should be a part of the training videos because he probably has more content in there. And it just seems to be that connection. I put all that stuff in there myself. That's just in my head. But it seems to make sense. Since I've gone back to Facebook Live on Falco Canine Academy, I've seen an increase in sales almost right away. And I think it was during a broadcast, I think one of the sales occurred. So just because I went on there and saw that I had a sell once I got off that I didn't have before I went on. So you really got to consider having that program, having that product for people to go to that's related to the show that you're creating, having a book as a lead magnet to send them to. And like Dean, you just put the graphic of your book up so that people can see it and be aware of it, that if you opt in to the link that's in the description to get this book for free, just click on that link and people will go there. As my friend Bruce Jones, that always was on me about that when I first started doing these shows, he goes, hey, where's your call to action? Where's your CTA? How come you're not, you're not having one of your programs be the sponsor of your show? How come? And then once I start doing it, I see sales. Right? If I don't see sales, at least I see an increase in interest in what it is I'm doing, which are both. I would rather have sales, but at least, at minimum, I'm having more traffic, more shares, more likes, and more of all that stuff. All right. So we are going to be doing some more training in the Facebook Live TV show. I have some things specifically for you. It's not today, but tomorrow I'll have at least, I'm hoping, I know I've said this before and I've fallen off just a little bit, but I think I'm going to have 2 trainings tomorrow. One of them is about graphics, and then I have some people that want to learn a little bit about LiveLeap and how that works, and I've been meaning to do that, but have just not had a chance to get to it, so I'll talk about LiveLeap. I'm going to tell you again right now, their support sucks. I got to tell you, because most of the comments I get from people, hey, can you help me get a hold of LiveLeap, because I've been trying to get a hold of them and it's been over a week now. I have not heard from. That's what I'm telling you. I tell you, I'm not encouraging you to buy it because their support stinks. Does the product work? Yes, it does work. But if you need help with it, they're not going to be the ones to give it to you. I may be more likely to give you help on LiveLeap, and I know not that much about it. I mean, I don't know anything about the back end, about how to get a button to work or how to do something. I just know how to set it up and how to get it going. That's all I know. So I'm going to be talking about LiveLeap just a little bit tomorrow. And there was one other thing, but you'll see tomorrow. It'll be good stuff. All right. Nabi and Dean and Yael and John North, thanks for joining me. I hope this was useful and just not a bunch of ramblings, but I really did intend only to talk about Gen X and Mellenials and the news that I found out about them, and it went on to these other things. So I hope it was okay. I will see you at the next one. Take care. Talk to you later. Bye.